but you can just call me Jukie. Who here loves crazy socks? Well, I sure love crazy socks. This one has kittens on it. Well, I know a little frog that loves his crazy socks. His name was Philip the Frog. And one day, he found a pair of the spookiest, craziest socks he has ever seen. This is the story of Philip Frog and the Spooky Socks by Janet Smith. Philip Frog was known in his bog for having a big imagination and a fascination for socks. Wow, look at all the crazy socks. One might even say that Philip's sock collection was perfection. It could not be mistook. Philip would always look in every nook for a new sock for his collection. He had silly socks, serious socks, rough socks, small socks, big socks, even purple polka dotty socks. One day, while searching for socks, Philip found the perfect pair! They were truly unique. Those socks were so sleek. He just had to take a peek. They were spooky and oh so kooky. They were the most amazing, blazing socks he had ever seen. They were googly-eyed, ghoulish, foolish, spooky. Philip had to have them. As Philip approached the socks, he saw his friend, Faith. She was always copying him. This was so annoying. He didn't want her joining. His mom always told him imitation is the sincerest compliment, but that didn't make him feel confident. Those socks are mine. As Philip locked eyes with Faith, he could see she had a plan. He thought, I need to get those socks as fast as I can. Those are mine. They dumped and they bumped anything in their way. Nothing made them sway. At the end of it all, there stood Faith. She was no disgrace. The socks were hers! There were no transfers. Philip staggered, looking battered. Then he felt like nothing mattered. He grabbed the socks with such force, he showed no remorse. He shouted, I have the biggest sock collection and it's perfection! Faith had never felt such rejection. How could you, Philip? Philip hopped away while Faith flopped on the floor, shocked at Philip's mocks. Philip was so obsessed with those socks, he didn't notice what he had done. This could not be undone. Faith whispered sadly, This is going to end sadly. As Philip went to pay for his socks, to his dismay, they seemed changed and looked a little deranged. Just a fabrication of my imagination, he thought. When Philip returned home, he was totally pooped. So he swooped into his room and got ready for bed. He was resting his head when it happened. He thought he saw those socks in the reflection of the mirror. Ugh! He had never felt such terror. At first glance, they looked like they were doing a dance. He gasped and quickly turned around, but he found nothing there. So silly, he thought to himself. My socks are not dancing. I have to stop ranting. He flopped into his bed and drew up the covers. That's when he heard it. Tap, tap, tappity tap, chop, chop, chop. Philip, from under his blankets, gave a peek. He tried not to shriek. Philip saw his socks. They were dancing and prancing around his room. Philip felt such gloom. Dad! Dad! Philip screamed. My spooky socks are talking and moonwalking all around my room. Philip's dad opened the door and said, Philip, this is such a bore. And furthermore, you're acting like a goonie. So loony. Your socks are not moonwalking or tugging. Now, go to sleep. I don't want to hear another peep. Philip agreed that he was going to try and sleep, and that he must be dreaming. His socks were not scheming, but Philip knew what he saw. He just looked with awe. Then he gave it a laugh. And said, what a gaffe. And fell off to sleep. The next day, Philip decided he was going to wear his new spooky socks to school. He was so excited. He would not be short-sighted. He invited all his friends to admire his socks. Look at the eyes. Watch them, they move. I'm sure you'll approve, he said loudly, while proudly shaking his ankles to show off how the eyes shook. Everyone came to look. As his friends admired his socks, he saw Faith. Scary. She looked so sad, maybe even a little mad. Philip felt ashamed for a moment, but then exclaimed, Look at my new spooky socks, Faith! Faith hopped and dropped her head to hide her tears. She watched as the eyes shook. She gave Philip such a look. I got them first, she sighed. She knew it could not be denied. That's when it started. He was being outsmarted. Those socks made him dance. He felt the groove in his underpants. He danced on the table. He danced on the floor. And those spooky socks made him dance right out the door. Philip danced through the whole school. He looked like such a fool. He jiggled while his friends giggled. He breakdanced, wondering if he could have a second chance, and did the pirouette with such regret. The teacher croaked at him. Philip, sit down and don't be a clown. Philip could not control his feet. He was so indiscreet. Philip, I can't stop! Philip felt manic, filled with such panic. He ran home, all alone. Philip sat on his bed, his feet finally still for an instant. He was so inconsistent. He felt relieved, but could not believe that it was over. Philip tried taking the socks off. Then he heard, "This is payoff." Philip thought, were those socks talking? He quickly tried prying them off while crying, "Get them off!" The socks just wouldn't budge. Philip screamed, "Oh, chocolate fudge!" He tried to cut them, but the fabric was too strong. He was afraid this would be lifelong. Then he heard, "It's not gonna work, Philip," they said with a smirk. Philip felt like he was going berserk. "Oh no! You were selfish and oh so rude. You had such an attitude, showing no warmth or affection, showing us off with no recollection. Now it's your turn. You can turn. Show us your dance in your underpants." "Dad! Dad!" Philip screamed. "My spooky socks are chattering, and they are not flattering. They want me to flash dance in my underpants." Philip's dad came in and couldn't help but grin. There stood Philip, looking foolish while dancing in his ghoulish socks. Philip's mom came rushing. She was not fussing. She was up for discussing. She asked Philip, "What's the matter? What's with all the chatter? Is something bothering you? We really need to review." Philip thought for a moment and really wanted atonement. Well, Philip said slowly, Faith wanted those spooky socks, and I snatched them from her. I was so detached. She was so sad, but I didn't feel bad. Instead, I bragged how I snagged those socks. Philip's mom spoke with wisdom. "Philip, you need to make a decision. Your imagination is letting you know to help you grow. Go make things right by tonight." It all made sense to Philip now. No matter how amazing those socks were, they should not make him greedy. Indeed, he needed to be speedy and visit Faith. Philip stood up and started to strut. He wanted to be kind. He would not change his mind. He ran right out the door and to the store. Philip hopped while he shopped, finding the perfect pair. All he wanted to do was share. Yes! He could not stop grinning while his feet went spinning. This feeling could not compare. He was very aware. Philip ran to Faith's house and rang the bell. She was right in the stairwell. She opened the door and could not ignore the beautiful socks Philip had for her. The smile on Faith was more wonderful than any sock that Philip had ever found. He felt spellbound and wanted to hang around. She invited him in to see her own sock collection. It was the best in his recollection. From then on, Philip and Faith became friends and spent most weekends wearing and comparing new socks. The end. Wow, I really enjoyed that story. This story has taught us to not let greed take us over. We should always be very nice and generous to our friends and other people. And since it is still Halloween time, I hope you enjoyed this very spooky story of Philip's spooky socks. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any great stories. And I will see you next time when it's time to tell a tale. Happy Halloween, everyone! I got them spooky socks. Yeah, I got them spooky socks. Actually, they're not really that spooky. They're just socks.